Good morning. My name is Harry Groot, and I'll be sharing the efforts Dovetail Partners has engaged in over the last 5 or 6 years to expand knowledge of biochar and to strengthen biochar markets. I came to biochar from a background in forest landowner cooperatives and from working with appropriately scaled sustainable forestry practitioners who've constantly been exploring value-added opportunities. I moved into biochar from the biomass energy realm, where the opportunities for modestly scaled production weren't generally feasible. Also, having a process engineering background and being a habitual early adopter of technologies and new techniques, biochar was intriguing. And there was a personal attraction of being able to sequester carbon by producing a soil enhancement for our family farm using waste products from our forestry and wood products businesses. I've led Dovetail's biochar-related efforts through a series of projects, which I'll share with you now. I'm going to turn off my video before proceeding with the presentation. Dovetail Partners is a nonprofit environmental think tank with a skilled team of experienced professionals headquartered in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Dovetail provides science-based information to inform public and private decision-making on current environmental issues. Its focus has been on natural resource and land use issues, especially the forestry and agricultural sectors, which share similar land bases and include the suburban-rural interface and urban areas. We manage a variety of grant-funded projects and consulting contracts, all seeking to foster sustainability and responsible behaviors through collaboration. Dovetail's associates, located both domestically and internationally, share the outcomes of their project work through a series of reports, which are all available online and via our monthly newsletter. Our full library of reports is available at the address here, and you can sign up for our free newsletter there too. Dovetail's interest in biochar is because it addresses multiple issues which have long been at the heart of Dovetail's focus, notably sustainable forestry and agriculture. I want to share some of the projects we've worked on and what we've learned from them, as well as our current efforts and future plans. The first biochar-related project was a value-added producer grant from USDA's Rural Development Office. I've been working with U.S. forest cooperatives since the late 90s, exploring value-added opportunities to support their members' sustainable forestry goals before organizing the Blue Ridge Forest Cooperative here in Virginia around 2006. Selling logs or lumber isn't too difficult, but the challenge with smaller scale forest products businesses is the same as with large operations. What do you do with your low value material? Besides marketing the higher value products, many co-ops were partially solving the low value material problem by selling bundled firewood or generating chips for biomass energy systems or pellets. About the time I joined Dovetail in 2014, some of the cooperative forest practitioners I was involved with started to look at natural lump charcoal as a product line, and we became aware of biochar as another option. It was in that time frame I applied for this grant under my family's farm business to test the market locally. The test marketing found strong sales for charcoal among the tailgate and barbecue crowds. However, the big problem we ran into was promoting biochar to other farmers and gardeners. Our efforts were usually met with the question, what's biochar? As part of that funding, we also evaluated the Exeter retort shown here, a technology licensed by Exeterra LLC in Athens, Ohio, from the inventor in England. The retort directs the syngas back into the firebox, and it makes excellent charcoal which becomes a high-quality biochar after being sized. However, the economic analysis of the unit was not compelling due to the amount of time required to manually control the temperature without overheating the retort. As you can see, we use slabs from our sawmill along with scraps and cutoffs from our millwork operation as feedstock. The takeaway from this project was a desire to better understand the biochar market, which led us to submit a Wood Innovation Grant proposal to look at another co-op success. This project involved looking for a broader solution to using woody biomass. We teamed with one of the forest landowner cooperatives who'd shown both innovative solutions and economic success, Gila Woodnet in Santa Clara, New Mexico. Our FY15 Wood Innovation Grant was designed to evaluate a suite of finished products, all using low-value woody biomass generated from National Forest fuels reduction thinning. The three products were Erosion, an erosion control, soil stabilization, and seed nutrient substrate product made from wood chips and a proprietary binder. Chipcrete, which is the Erosion product cast into unitized forms, and Biochar. Broadcast Erosion has some clear advantages as a ground cover over its current competitors. The photo you see on the right is a test site for erosion control and establishment of ground cover. One strong advantage of this product line is that the application system is off the shelf. However, for it to reach scale, we identified the need for significant marketing to educate buyers and the need to pass qualification trials with departments of transportation and environmental quality agencies. It was determined to be an economically feasible product and was projected to integrate well with the Chipcrete product I'll show next. An interesting note about Erosion is that fertilizer, compost, seeds, and biochar can all be mixed in with the chips and its binder. Degradation of this erosion is controlled by manipulating the binder ratio. So, for instance, a seed-bearing application of Erosion will sprout cover crops, and the chips will break down to become soil ultimately. Or it can be made more permanent for erosion control, as you see in the left and center pictures. Biochar incorporation makes it a carbon sequestering, water retentive, and soil improving installation too. Chipcrete can be integrated with its erosion business as long as it's used in non-building code applications. Again, as with erosion, concrete, or asphalt applications, biochar can be incorporated into the mix readily, providing further carbon sequestration along with some property enhancing characteristics. Considerable testing is needed to qualify Chipcrete for structural applications, but the potential for significant consumption of woody biomass is a strong motivation to pursue this product line, especially with the incorporation of biochar to increase its green quotient. The project report was published in May of 2017, and biochar was unsurprisingly deemed to have the strongest market potential of the three product lines we analyzed. In that report, we highlighted the growing demand for biochar and the considerable development work ongoing by multiple enterprises and research institutions worldwide. This project led us to pursue a deeper relationship with the biochar community and a desire to further understand the benefits, constraints, and potential of the market. That led us to submit another proposal to the Forest Service to look at the entire domestic biochar industry with the support of USBI. The Biochar Industry Survey was done in collaboration with USBI and looked at both biochar producers and consumers. We learned there were unanimously high expectations of future biochar market growth by both groups in virtually all the uses we're familiar with. It was a blind survey, so we didn't reveal any individual information, and the findings were based only on those who responded, which we estimated at 45% of the 2018 domestic producers and an unknown percentage of end users. Based on the input from producers about their production volumes, we extrapolated an industry output of 45 to 70,000 tons annually. However, there was an underrepresentation of the industry's bigger producers, which probably lowered the production estimates. Despite that, what we heard was pretty consistent from both producers and users. Anyone familiar with the industry won't be surprised at these responses to the survey questions. The need for standards, consistent testing protocols, validation of claims, and the need for more outreach and education are common topics of our discussions and conferences. The industry survey provided a data-driven foundation about consistent and widespread needs, which have subsequently been used to focus on solutions. We've discussed and addressed all these issues at multiple conferences and in countless meetings. I want to talk about our current Wood Innovation funded project, which addresses some of these issues. But first, I want to talk about a research project we're collaborating on. The Biomass Research and Development Initiative is a USDA and Department of Energy collaboration. Our grant funding is for a 3-year project, which is primarily soils and crop research, but with Dovetail's involvement, will include a look at the economic aspect of implementing biochar enhancement practices in similar ag settings. We've just finished the second growing season, but with curtailed lab access due to the pandemic, the data about the responses of the soils and crops to the biochar is just being generated, so I don't have any results to share now. However, I can report that all the biochars used have been tested by a single lab to the IBI standards, and those data are being analyzed. The life cycle assessment of the carbon is underway, and once we have productivity data, we'll be looking at the economics of the various systems. An outcome of the project is to use the findings to further support ag markets and educate consumers. As you can see, we have a wide variety of crops and a wide variety of soils, quite geographically distributed. We have forest and orchard crops in northern and mid Minnesota, natural pasture and switchgrass in Virginia, which was shown in the previous slide, organic commodity crops in southern Minnesota, and grapes, various vegetables, and flowers in Virginia and New Mexico. Our current Wood Innovation project is an outgrowth of our previous work, particularly the industry survey. We're just getting started, currently identifying producers and users to interview in each of the markets, as well as searching for relevant and recent or ongoing research, which will have particular interest to buyers in those markets. The markets were selected for their potential for growth and anticipated volume use of biochar. The schedule has been crafted to get the information out to the biochar community and interested stakeholders quickly. USBI and IBI are partners in this project, both from the design and execution aspects. They'll announce the exact dates of the webinar, so keep watching their newsletters. The case studies will be released in proximity to the webinars also. Another project currently underway is a state-level biochar logistics assessment. I think it's significant that biochar has become sufficiently attractive as an opportunity that state-level agencies are exploring it, especially in regions that don't host much production capacity and have little knowledge about biochar generally. Input for this project will come from extensive interviews with forest practitioners, policymakers, researchers, and landowners to gauge their interest and their biochar knowledge level, and to explore the opportunity to incorporate biochar in their production and management systems policies, and decision-making processes. You can see here what the opportunity is with just one problem in just one state. When you consider the tons of feedstocks from invasive mitigation treatments, wildfire reduction efforts, and from timber stand improvement or habitat management activities, let alone the woody biomass from production forestry and wood products manufacturing, it's clear there's no shortage of supply. Finding economical methods to deal with those materials is one aspect Dovetail has been pursuing and will continue to do. Going forward, of particular interest is how to include biochar in a variety of products and practices. Dovetail is looking for opportunities to couple our ongoing project aimed at fire threat reduction with biochar production. Many think fire threat is only a problem in the West, but if you remember the catastrophic fire near Gatlinburg, Tennessee a couple of years ago, and the threat posed by the millions of board feet of trees down in hurricanes in the South, you can understand the breadth of the challenge and opportunity nationwide, especially with the more variable weather we're seeing from the changing climate, including more frequent, periodic, and long-term drought, and more frequent and more violent storms everywhere. The growth of biochar markets is a personal as well as professional interest. With my cooperative development background, the problem I'm personally interested in is figuring out the aggregation of biochar supply from a widely distributed network of smaller producers and connecting them with markets profitably. The challenge of quality control and product consistency across multiple producers is the same fundamentally as for the industry as a whole. Collaboration between all the stakeholders to access markets effectively continues to grow in importance as biochar's role in climate change mitigation increases too. Dovetail is committed to continue playing a role facilitating biochar's contributions to markets and land use solutions. Thanks for listening and thanks for your continued support. Feel free to contact me if you'd like to follow up about anything. My address is shown here, but you can also access Dovetail via the web directly, or you can reach out to our Executive Director, Ashley McFarland, whose address is shown below. Thanks again.